Chapter 1. Defying Gravity. He prowled the stage like a prize fighter, rolling out one-liners in waves. Bang! That was a belter. Whack! That one was a killer. Pow! That one knocked them dead on their feet. The audience were reeling now, dazed. Their heads were thrown back in laughter. They were out of control. Tears were streaming down their hot, sweaty faces. Snot was bubbling out of their noses. 3 of them looked like they were about to choke. Then, just as the laughter was starting to subside, thwack! He let rip with another gag, even funnier than the last. Splat! Bop! Kaboom! When he'd first walked out on stage, they'd been just a room full of people. Now they were a single being, united in their love of his stand-up comedy skills. "That's all from me. Good night," he shouted, and was gone. As he walked off the stage of the mighty Hammersmith Apollo, the applause was deafening, and Matt Millz, aged just 12, loved every minute of it. "They're on their feet, Matt," gushed the MC as Matt passed him in the wings. "They want a bit more. You better go back on or there'll be a riot." Matt rolled his eyes as if taking this kind of adulation from a few thousand people was a daily occurrence. Then the chanting started. "More! More! 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 We want Matt Millz! We want Matt Millz!" "Just another day at the office," said Matt, his face breaking into a big smile. With that, he turned a full 180 and walked back out to meet his crowd, to even bigger cheers than before. 3 encores later, and Matt found himself at the stage door, fighting his way through a barrage of flashes. A huge crowd of paparazzi and excited fans had gathered with cameras and smartphones held aloft. "Matt, can I get a selfie? Matt, will you sign my ticket? Matt, will you sign my dad's bald head?" Girls, boys, men, women, children, people of all ages, sizes and colours were clamouring for a piece of him. "Matt, I love you," screamed one old lady, clutching a bottle of beer and a felt-tip pen. "I love me too," he quipped, to another massive laugh. He couldn't help himself. He was just so funny. "You didn't just knock 'em dead, Matt. You buried 'em," said Matt's manager as he sank back into the plush leather seat of his limo. "Now we need to talk about the tour." "Sure, where do you want to start it?" said Matt, taking a tub of ice cream out of the in-car fridge. "We start with 12 nights at the O2 Arena, then hit all the major cities in the UK, said his manager. "And then?" quizzed Matt. "We hit the States." Matt nodded coolly, flicking on the TV to see a video of himself outside the Apollo from just 10 minutes earlier. "We interrupt this program to bring you a newsflash," said the presenter. "Matt Millz has just broken the world record for the youngest comedian ever to sell out the Hammersmith Apollo. There were chaotic scenes outside the theatre tonight when Matt was mobbed by thousands of fans all eager to get close to the rising star." Matt's manager high-fived him. "Now, there have been a couple of requests," he continued. "Kanye and Kim are in town and wondered if you fancied going round for a game of Twister. Rihanna's asking whether you'd like to hang out with her backstage at her Wembley gig and maybe go for a pizza after. Oh, and Buckingham Palace called. Turns out you're Will and Kate's favourite comedian and they'd like you to do Prince George's birthday party." Before Matt could answer, something weird started happening to his manager's voice. It was changing pitch, sounding younger. "Matt, Matt, Matt, Matt. Hello?" Matt blinked and looked up to see the face of his best mate, Rob Brown, staring at him. "Hello?" Matt looked around. He wasn't in the back of a limo. He was in a classroom. It wasn't late at night, but broad daylight. Then it dawned on him. He hadn't just done a gig at the Hammersmith Apollo, and he wasn't Britain's youngest stand-up comedian. He was a 12-year-old boy putting together the jokes page for his school magazine. "You were daydreaming again, Matt," said Rob, slapping a picture onto the desk in front of him. It showed their physics teacher falling down the steps outside the science block. "Whoops," said Matt, confused and more than a little crestfallen. "We need a caption for this photo of Dr. Bouvier," said Rob. And like Dr. Bouvier, Matt was back down to earth with a bump. Said Matt, rubbing his eyes and blinking himself back to the here and now. "How about Bouvier finally explains gravity in a way that's easy to understand?" Said Rob, rubbing his chin and desperately trying to come up with something to top Matt's gag. "Hang on, scratch that. How about what goes up must come down?" "Nice one," said Rob. "I don't know how you do it, but you always do." Teamwork, Rob, teamwork, said Matt, and they set to planning the rest of the page. Matt and Rob had been running Pavy's punchlines for over a year, and it had been going really well. Meredith Pavey was their headmaster, a bald man with glasses, a very odd dress sense, and a personality to match. In short, he was a cartoonist's dream. What are you thinking for the main feature, Matt? I thought we might try a cut-out and keep dress-it-yourself model of Pavey in his underpants. Like it. Keep talking. You're the artist, Rob. You draw a picture of Pavey in his undies. Then around that, we'll put some of his most popular outfits with little tabs on so that our readers can cut them out and dress him up for different occasions. We'll give him that dumb green tracksuit he wears on sports day. His flash as Mac, chipped in Rob. The sandals, countered Matt. The stripy tank top. Yeah, but make sure it's like the real one and doesn't cover his belly button. The flowery tie he wears for assemblies. The Speedos, said Matt with a giggle. Oh man, stop it, said Rob, cracking up now. We'll get lynched. A bobble hat and a pair of mittens. What, with the Speedos? Whatever floats your boat, Rob. They were really cooking now, bouncing ideas off each other, pushing it further and further until they were virtually rolling around on the floor with laughter. I hope there's some work being done here, said a big man with a cauliflower ear and a beard, leaning round the door of the classroom. It was Mr. Gillingham, who supervised the school magazine activity. He looked like a real hard case and more than a little scary, but in fact Paul Gillingham had a great sense of humour and was a big fan of Millz and Brown. He'd picked up the mangled ear from one too many games of rugby. Oh yes, sir, the joke page is really filling up nicely, said Matt. Yeah? What have you got for us this week? Said Mr. G, perching himself like a giant bearded budgie on the edge of Matt's desk. Hard to beat last month's school dinner bingo. That had been another of Matt's ideas, photos of various school dinners placed in boxes in a grid like a bingo card. Readers had to try to match the name of the dish to the photo. It had gone down a storm with pupils and teachers alike, even if it had meant being blanked by the dinner ladies for a week, and smaller portions for Matt and Rob from the head cook, Mrs. Rogers. Mind you, you could call that a blessing in disguise. It's a fashion piece, said Matt, passing Mr. Gillingham Rob's rough sketch. A broad grin spread across Mr. Gillingham's face as he scanned the page. Then he let out a snort and finally a big laugh. One day you two are going to get me sacked. You can't stick this in the magazine. Mr. Pavey will hit the roof. Oh, sir, please. You've got to admit it's really funny, said Matt, falling to his knees with his hands clasped together, mock pleading. That's true, unofficially. I suppose if a few copies of it were printed anonymously using the school photocopier and circulated amongst friends, it would be very difficult to level the blame at anyone in particular. Of course, you didn't hear that from me. Yes, sir, said Matt, not hearing you loud and clear. Put me down for 10 copies, chortled Mr. Gillingham, heading towards the door. Oh, he said, turning back, and don't forget the khaki shorts he wears when the sun's out. With the brown knee-length socks and sandals, sir. You don't miss a trick, do you, Millz? We're on it, said Rob with a chuckle. As Mr. G left, he passed their classmate, Ahmed, at the door with a bundle of A4 posters under his arm. Hello, Ahmed. What are you up to? Mrs. McGregor asked me to put these posters up, said Ahmed with a yawn. Ah, the all-powerful drama department. You'd better put them up then. See you later, lads, and remember, mum's the word. Ahmed stepped into the classroom. Got any blue tack, boys? No blue tack here, bruv, said Rob. Not seen any around these parts since the great blue tack crash of 2014, joked Matt, affecting a Texan drawl. I heard that lumps of blue tack are now changing hands for thousands of pounds. And last week, a man got mugged for a roll of sellotape. I'm serious. McGregor's told me to put this lot up all round the school by the end of break, said Ahmed, holding up the stack of posters. A new poster? How come they didn't ask me to design it? Said Rob, snatching one from the pile. What are they for, anyway? They're for some talent show. Can you believe it? A talent show in this poxy corner of the world. I've seen more talent in, a goldfish bowl, offered Matt. Exactly, said Ahmed. I've seen more talent in a goldfish bowl than in this dump. Present company accepted, Ahmed, said Rob with a smirk, turning back to the poster. Terrible layout. I mean, look at that font. Looks like a 5-year-old did it. First rule of graphic design, you don't go bold and underline it. Matt was already scribbling in his notebook. Idea for routine, The F Factor. A show based on the hit TV talent show The T Factor, only for fish. He pondered where this might go. He found it was pretty easy to think of a wacky idea for a routine, but much harder to write the belting great laugh that should end it. The F Factor, talent show for fish. Presenters, Salmon Buell, David Whalemeat, Amanda Flatfish. Auditions in a goldfish bowl. Final, get to play the River Thames. You're coming to London. Anglebrook's Got Talent, said Rob, reading out the legend on one of Ahmed's posters. Yeah, they're doing it for comic relief, said Ahmed, rolling his eyes. So naff. Do you have a talent that you've been hiding from the world, said Rob, reading on. Can you sing like Susan Boyle? There's a few girls here that look like her for sure, sniggered Ahmed. Can you dance like Diversity, tell jokes like Eddie Odillo, or get your dog to dance like Pudsey, continued Rob. If the answer to any of those questions is yes, then Anglebrook School's drama department needs you. Whoa, said Matt, suddenly on his feet, his hands reaching for one of Ahmed's posters. Go back a bit. Can you dance like Diversity, repeated Rob. Not that far back, said Matt, scanning the poster himself. Here it is. Can you tell jokes like Eddie Odillo? Eddie Odillo hosted the Stand Up at the Apollo TV show, which showcased the country's best up-and-coming comedians. He was sharp-suited, dead cool, and effortlessly funny. He was also Matt's comic hero. This is it, Matt exclaimed, jumping to his feet and waving the poster around his head, unable to contain his excitement. This was the clarion call he'd been waiting for. You're thinking of entering, right? Said Rob. Matt turned to his oldest and dearest friend, put his hand on his shoulder, and raising an eyebrow, let him in on the news. No, Rob, you and I are going to form a double act. It'll be lame, sighed Ahmed, and ambled off to the next classroom in search of blue tack.